Hello, in today's video I'm going to be ranking every single new hypercharge in Brawl Stars. As we all know, Brawl Stars has been adding every 2 months new hypercharges, and in today's video I'm going to be ranking the new ones that have just came out. First on the list is Barry, then comes the Eve hypercharge, then comes the Ash one, then comes the Janet one, and the gray one, and finally we have the Melody hypercharge. In all, there's 6 hypercharge to rank, and we'll be going throughout every single one of them and playing a single game and seeing how easy it is to gain, and in general what it does and its more features, and just in perspective if it would be really beneficial. So for Barry, I think there is one strategy that you could use. Go into the zone and gain your hypercharge from healing inside of your attack. But we'll try that later in the game. Maybe that doesn't work. For now, we're kind of trying towards basically getting our super and just dealing a ton of damage on these spots. I am playing with bots because I do not own every single hypercharge. That's way too expensive for me, and I don't have so much money to actually afford that, at least for now. And yeah, so our main goal is just to get the hypercharge and check it out against these bots. And yeah, I mean, honestly, bots, there's not many tanks, so I can't deal a lot of damage, and I'm not fighting a Hank bot, because we all know Hank bots are overpowered. So I have decided that I'm just going to gain my hypercharge from using the healing of my attack and damaging from the zone. I think in solo showdown, this hypercharge would be super overpowered if you're playing against teamers, because once you get your hypercharge, you can just rat in the bushes, wait until you get your hypercharge, wait until you get your super. See, we almost, just a second. Come on, yeah, there you go. We have our hypercharge and super, and it didn't take us way too long, so it's not gonna take long. It's only 2 supers, so this is already pretty ethical hypercharge by gaining, but we'll see how good it is in damage and just in general what it does. So it just basically makes your super twice as big, I assume, and maybe more damage, maybe not, but it's okay, it's okay. Let's go ahead and check the second hypercharge on the list. As for the second hypercharge, we have our favorite brawler, Eve. I honestly love Eve. She's one of my favorite brawlers to play for, and I have that mommy title as well, which is, I think, the best title in the game, but I'm currently having touching grass, but whatever. Anyway, and her hypercharge, I heard out of everything while watching the Brawl Talk, I saw it was really overpowered. We'll see what it really does right now. But first we need to kind of gain it, and my Wi-Fi is kind of laggy. I'm just trying to deal a ton of damage while I can on these bots, because the more damage I do, the more, okay, this dynamic is being annoying, but, oh, I already got my, wow, that was actually really fast, I'm not gonna lie. That was super fast. Anyway, now I know that I have to put my hypercharge in a secure spot where no one could deal damage possibly to it, so we could kind of charge to the max extent and give birth to the most amount of, I'll just call them babies or whatever. Anyway, let's go ahead and activate our hypercharge and place it somewhere secure. Yeah, that will do, and just wait until the hatchlings all hatch out. 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my god, it just hatched. Whoa, 8? Not, oh, 8. That is crazy. I'm just gonna wait until they kill Dynamite. Yeah, Dynamite does not stand a chance. GG's. That was a really cool, honestly. That's a really W hypercharge. Wow, and it was really easy to get. Anyway, let's go ahead and check our third hypercharge. Now we have Ash on our list, and honestly, I had mixed feelings for this hypercharge, because you'll see later because why. Because, for example, if we're facing against Poco, and one tap of Poco can already extract all of his little, I would call them mice or whatever. But okay, yeah, but just look, one attack and okay, they're gone. Yeah, it's kind of useless if you're fighting some kind of brawler that could pierce through your mice, but if you're playing against someone like Piper, it would be actually very, okay, that was really fast, I'm not gonna lie. I like that, it's really ethical. Okay, and this gen is dying. Let's go ahead and push the other brawlers that are against us. But whoa, that was really fast. That was like Eve's hypercharge. I really respect that. I respect the hypercharges that are easy to gain, because some hypercharges, as we all know, later on in the video there's going to be two specific brawlers that are going to be really hard to get your hypercharge for, but for now, Eve and Ash have been showing a good result on that. Anyway, it's an okay hypercharge. We'll see what I rank it. Let's see the other hypercharges that are competing with it. Okay, I have a feeling that this hypercharge for Janet is gonna be a really hard hypercharge to actually gain access to, because we all know that Janet is barely can get 2 supers in one game. I barely can get even one, and getting a hypercharge, let alone 1 super, is already literally mission impossible. You'll need to be the sweatiest player in the lobby just to get it, especially in solo showdown, because I remind you, in solo showdown you won't be dealing damage to many enemies, usually, but I don't know, maybe you're going to go on a mass killing spree and actually be able to do that. But look at this, just look how much damage I'm dealing, and I still can't gain access to a hypercharge. No matter how much I deal, it's still not enough. Yeah, these are one of those brawlers that's going to be really hard to get my hypercharge. I just got it, but now I need to get my super, because I already spent my super. And let's go ahead and, okay, there's a 9, I don't think I'm killing him, but let's see his sure hypercharge. Okay, whoa, this is not that good. It's hard to control. No, I don't like this. It's way too shabby. It was hard to control. It's just all the enemy has to do to not get hit by it is move a little bit, tingle around, and that's all. That's the minus. Now we have our favorite brawler, Gray. That is one of the most underrated brawlers in my opinion. But honestly, I can tell why he's underrated. His attacks are very thin, and he does deal quite some damage, but hitting a shot on Gray is near quite impossible. It's really hard, and especially when you're playing against some brawlers like Max, that just, it's literally already impossible to shoot them. But if they're fast, or they're an attack assassin or a tank, it's just, no matter what, you're probably most likely gonna die if you do not have your super. So yeah, that's not very fun, to be honest. And I'm telling you, hitting shots is hard. For now, you can see I can't gain my hypercharge, even though I killed, like, okay, just did, but gaining my hypercharge was a very slow process, I'm not gonna lie. But let's test it out. So it gives you, it seems to be a shield when you go through it. Does it happen every, oh yes it does. Okay, that's not bad. But I also heard that I could use my super multiple times, even if I had my hypercharge. Whoa, that is true. That's interesting. Okay, but my super does not give me a shield, and the hypercharged one does give me a shield, I assume. Yeah, and a shield. Whoa, that is pretty cool. I think this could be really beneficial in some kind of game modes where area control is important. Anyway, it's a hypercharge. As a hypercharge, it's pretty cool, but it was really hard to gain access to. Anyway, let's go ahead and check our last hypercharge, Melody. At first, I thought that this hypercharge is going to be one of the easiest hypercharge to actually get, but I was completely wrong. You'll see how I was completely fumbled. Usually, you need to get your super twice to get a hypercharge, but for Melody, it's not the case. It's crazy. It's actually absurd. The amount of times that you need to hit an enemy just to gain access to an hypercharge, it's absolutely crazy. Okay, let alone getting your super is, 4 shots, which is okay, that's livable. But getting a hypercharge, I think it's 12 shots or 14, which is, it's just an insane amount, honestly. And speaking about our hypercharge, as soon as we use it, we all will be kind of, it's not the best hypercharge that they could have added, especially for Melody. They could have added something original, but they added, so you'll just see. Once I gain it, but I still don't have it, unfortunately, because it's impossible to get. Okay, now I have it. Now let's go ahead and activate it, and you will see what it does. Wait, I don't have to explain it, but yeah, you can see it. There's like 6 melody notes now. 3 of them came from me using my super, and it just gives melody notes from showing basically using your super. Anyway, now let's go to the chart and actually rank every single hypercharge from worst to best. I've calculated the results, and here's who comes last. Last on 6th place is definitely Melody. Without your super, you pretty much are useless without the notes. So if you don't have your super, your hypercharge is completely useless, and as well, it is really hard to obtain your hypercharge, and you most likely will not be able to even activate it because you won't have it in the game that you're playing mostly. But it depends, of course, on the game, but mostly you're not even going to have the hypercharge because it's going to be so hard to get. At 5th place, I've decided to put Janet's hypercharge. Honestly, I'm not biased whatsoever, but Janet's hypercharge is pretty hard to control, let alone actually attack someone and pierce someone. It's really easy to dodge from an enemy side, as you could already see. And as well, it's really hard to get because you need 2.5 supers to get the hypercharge. It's just a very long time to take, and it's not that good of a hypercharge. It doesn't give any kind of additional damage. It deals 2,000 damage, which isn't a lot. So if you just think about it in general, it's not the best hypercharge, and it's just hard to obtain. In general, it's a pretty bad hypercharge, to be honest. At 4th place, I've decided to put Gray. Because Gray, honestly, it's just the fact that getting his hypercharge is so hard. It also takes 2.5 supers. That means you need to get 2 supers and just basically 10 shots. But you might sound like little, but it really is a lot. In game, when you're playing against a lot of enemies, especially in solo showdown, 10 shots is not ideal, and it's a good hypercharge for playing against 3v3s or like with the teams. But it's a bad hypercharge in solo showdown, and this is what I'm literally ranking it for. So it's kind of down the list, but it's not a bad hypercharge if you count as like the ability of it. On 3rd place, we have Ash. The reason I ranked him so high up is because it's really easy to get his hypercharge and obtain it in a game, and most likely if you have Ash's hypercharge, you will be able to actually use it, which is a good thing because usually you will be able to get 2 supers, which is pretty easy for Ash especially. And considering that those microbots can of course get pierced through the enemies like Poco and Janet, and those who can literally pierce through different amount of objects, those like snipers and tanks could not do the same, and they would actually be struggling against such a super. Like, can you just imagine 12 mice and you're a Piper with 2,000 HP, you're getting completely dominated by them, and no matter what, you will not be able to escape. So that's why it's so high up, and it's a pretty good hypercharge. There's pretty much no minuses except for the fact that the bots are easy to break, but there's a lot of them. At 2nd place, we have Barry. The only real reason I put Barry at 2nd place is because the fact that you can get your hypercharge not even by contacting any enemies and healing by yourself means that you can rat as much as you want, and it would literally be an overpowered strategy for you. So I put it so high up. The hypercharge in itself is a pretty simple hypercharge. It gives you double the amount. It's just like Barley's hypercharge, which gives double the amount of super. Same for Barry. But I could see how this is really beneficial, and it's really easy to obtain. It's if you sit enough amount of time in the zone, then you're already guaranteed it. So it's just a really good hypercharge. It's a great hypercharge, honestly, and the fact that you can get it just by healing makes it so much better. And finally, the award-winning #1 hypercharge, of course, goes for Eve. That hypercharge is so good. Honestly, it's a great hypercharge. It, I think, spawns 8 hatchlings, which is so much, especially when they all have 2,000 HP and are piercing towards an enemy. Like, I would be frustrated if I was some kind of nanny or Piper, because I already knew that my fate has already been chosen. That is just a crazy hypercharge, and it's easy to get. Only 2 supers. It requires only 2. It's just great. They can walk. They can't walk on water, but still, it's amazing. It literally, there's nothing to. There's no minuses to it. It's just an amazing hypercharge. That's all I can say. Literally, just an amazing hypercharge. It's a great one. Anyway, yeah. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you liked it, go check my other videos out there as well, if not more interesting than this one. And by the way, you could write in the comments if you agree or not with my opinion. Maybe you could contradict me, or kind of write your own comment about what you think should have been 1st or 2nd or 3rd or 4th or 5th, or maybe agree. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching this video to the end, and without further ado, on this note, I'm going to be saying goodbye. There once was a time where people subscribed, and I was happy.